Zani is coming back soon, but is she still worth pulling for? That's what I'm going to be discussing in today's video by looking at Zani's biggest pros and cons to see if she's still a good character. The first thing I feel the need to discuss when talking about Zani is the fact that she is currently still the best Spectro DPS in the entire game, and that does say something because the competition is in fact quite tight. Spectro DPSs are quite plentiful, because we've gotten 3 since the launch of the game. We got Jinshi in version 1.1, Phoebe in version 2.1, and then we got Zani in version 2.3. And Zani is still just the best one out of this trio. She has the highest damage output out of all 3 of them by quite a large margin. Her damage is just straight up higher than Jinshi by quite a good amount, especially when we talk about Whimpering Wastes, because Jinshi's nuke-focused playstyle simply doesn't work within that game mode. So when you compare Zani to Jinshi, Zani is just straight up going to be the better option. When comparing to Phoebe, it does get a little more interesting, because while Zani does have just straight up higher damage output and better multi-wave, Phoebe does have some advantages. The primary one being the fact that she is a ranged character, which means that she is much safer to use. Not only do you not have to be next to the enemy, you also just don't care about flying enemies. So whenever you're fighting someone like the Impermanence Heron or the Sentry Construct, Phoebe is going to end up having pretty good performance when comparing her to Zani. But even despite this, Zani is still the best Spectro DPS in the game, because the advantages that Phoebe has compared to Zani are not good enough to really overturn just how much more damage Zani really does compared to her. So if you're looking for a good Spectro DPS, Zani is definitely the one to look out for, although that does assume you have her best in slot team. The second thing I wanted to talk about is Zani's incredible potential within Quickswap teams. Zani's current best team is running with Phoebe and Spectro Rover. While you are able to play this team just fine when you're looking at it from a 1-2-3 perspective, it does have some of the best Quickswap potential in the game. Zani's Heavy Slash Nightfall has one of the longest animations in the entire game, making it one of the best quickswap windows in her kit. During this window, you're able to get 3 entire Phoebe basic attacks and a heavy attack, or you're able to do a Spectro Rover heavy attack followed by a Spectro Rover skill. This means that you'll be applying Spectro Frazzle in the middle of your Zani animation. And because Spectro Frazzle gets converted into Blaze, which is Zani's forte bar, that means you're able to do even more attacks during your ultimate. And because Phoebe's outro skill does not expire on swapping, this gives Zani the unique ability to extend her rotation more than any other DPS in the game, because you're able to just swap mid-animation to give Zani more forte to spend, making her one of the best quick-swapping characters in the game. But fret not, if you're not a fan of Quickswap, we can move over to the next point, which is that Zani is an incredibly simple character to use at a baseline. A lot of characters in the game have unique and cool tech that they are able to exploit. Zani, while she does also have cool tech, kinda just doesn't care if you wanna just straight up 1-2-3 hypercarry her. She is a very simple character in this regard. All you really need to do is build up her forte, use her forte skill, use her ultimate, and then you can mash the left click button like your life depends on it. Because while she does have all these cool parry mechanics that you're able to use, you kinda just don't want to. You would rather just spam the left click button than fish for a parry that might never come. This makes Zani an incredibly unique skill-based character, because while she does have the ability to play incredibly skilled using frequent quick swaps, you can also very easily just bang your head against the wall and just do the same thing with Zani's greatsword into the enemy. That's not where the positives end though, because once you have Zani's best team, you're still able to invest into this team quite a bit. Obviously, there is Zani's weapon and Phoebe's weapon, which are both very good for the team. Zani's weapon, obviously it's the signature weapon of a main DPS, you should almost always be trying to aim for these. But Phoebe's weapon is also very uniquely good. It gives 30% damage amplification towards Spectro Frazzle, which is what Zani's attacks count as. So Phoebe's weapon also ends up being a pretty good increase when it comes to making a good Zani team. So okay, cool, you have Phoebe and Zani with their signature weapons now. What to do next? Zani and Phoebe also actually have some of the better early sequences in the game. Zani has one of the best S1s and one of the better S2s, with Phoebe having an absolutely busted S2. Getting Phoebe S2 is actually just slightly worse than getting a Zani S2 for your Zani team. And considering the fact that Zani S2 is as good as it is, getting both Zani S2 and Phoebe S2 gives you some of the best vertical investment of any team in the entire game. And this is just talking about the early sequences. If you want to go later on into the sequence tree, they also both have incredibly strong S6s. Zani's S6 allows her to extend her rotation like you do in the Quickswap teams, and Phoebe's S6 allows you to get another heavy attack Star Flash whenever you use her skill, which means that during Zani's Quickswap windows, you have yet another way of applying Spectro Frazzle. And then if you want to replace Spectro Rover, you're very able to do so by getting an S2 Shorekeeper. So overall, if you're someone who likes whaling, Zani might be one of the best pickups in the entire game for you. But that's enough glaze for now, because I think it's time for me to talk about the one thing that's going to be incredibly off-putting for anyone who doesn't have a lot of pulls right now. If you want to get Zani, be prepared to get a Phoebe. If you do not have Phoebe, don't even think about getting a Zani right now. Zani is not a character you pull, she is a duo of characters you pull, because you need to get Phoebe for your Zani team. I'm not joking here. Remember what I said earlier during the vertical investment point, where I said that Phoebe's weapon is one of the best investments you can make for your Zani team? Yeah, just more than triple that buff, add a Spectro Res decrease, and then the most amount of Spectro Frazzle application in the game that isn't Shakona, and bam, that's what Phoebe does. You need this character. I'm not joking. Usually, when it's about a situation where one character really wants the other, what I will do is I will talk about it in a bit of a toned down manner. I will tell you that you can still play the character just fine without Phoebe, just know that you'll be missing out on a lot of damage. I'm not doing that here. If you want to play Zani in any sort of competent manner, and do a good amount of damage without tearing your hairs out of your head, you want to get a Phoebe. If you don't currently have Phoebe on your account, there's only one scenario in which I actually suggest pulling Zani, which is that you at all times save enough pulls to guarantee yourself a Phoebe whenever she reruns. If you're not doing that, you shouldn't be pulling Zani. I've complained about Zani so much on my channel, and this really is the crux of the issue. While I might be a massive fan of Phoebe, I'm never going to act like this is good business practices, because it just isn't. The sheer amount of things you lose by playing Zani without Phoebe should honestly be considered some sort of crime, and it's one of the most predatory things that Kuro Games has ever done. But that's just my opinion on Zani. Let me know what you think of her in the comments down below. And while you're down there, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Additionally, if you have any questions, you should join my Discord server, which is linked in the description below. If you just want to see more of me as a person, you can check out my second channel. I don't upload much, but when I do, it's kinda just what I feel like posting. But that'll be all from me. Peace.